Welcome to episode 431, and it's marketing season for love right now with Valentine's Day just around the corner. And in this episode, we'll explore what Ayurveda teaches about love. Not the fleeting kind, not the idealized kind, but the steady, nourishing love that begins within. We'll talk about self-love, inner union, and how your daily habits quietly shape your capacity to give and receive love in all areas of life. Welcome to the Elements of Ayurveda podcast. I'm your host, Colette. And if you're new to Ayurveda, I recommend starting with the first few episodes where I introduce the foundations of Ayurveda and the doshas. To learn more, work with me, or explore my offerings, you can visit elementshealingandwellbeing.com. And for podcast updates, join me on Instagram at Elements of AyurvedaPodcast. And before we begin, just a quick note to say that this podcast is for educational and inspirational purposes only. It's not intended as medical advice. Now let's dive into this episode. Hey there, and welcome back to the podcast. This episode is releasing just a couple of days before Valentine's Day, a time where love is marketed everywhere on our screens, in shop windows, in the marketing emails, and yet for so many people, this time of year can feel complicated. Valentine's Day often carries a very specific story about what love is supposed to look like. Romance, passion, attention, being chosen, and being celebrated. And while those expressions of love can be beautiful, they're also very narrow. They don't leave much room for the quieter, steadier, and more sustainable forms of love that actually nourishes over time. In Ayurveda, love is not a performance. It's not something we chase, and it's not something that arrives from outside of us and suddenly makes everything feel whole. Ayurveda teaches us that love is a state of balance, a state of nourishment, and a state of inner coherence. And when we begin to understand love in this way, Valentine's Day becomes less about measuring ourselves against an ideal and more about coming home to ourselves. So in this episode, I want to explore what Ayurveda really teaches about love, self-love, and inner union, and how our daily habits quietly shape our capacity to give and receive love in all areas of life. In the modern wellness culture, self-love is often framed as indulgence. Treat yourself, spoil yourself, take the day off, buy the thing, have the dessert. And while pleasure and enjoyment absolutely have a place, Ayurveda offers a much deeper and more honest definition of self-love. From an Ayurvedic perspective, self-love is not about doing more. It's about supporting the systems that keep us regulated, nourished, and resilient. Self-love looks like eating in a way that your digestion can actually handle, honoring your need for rest before exhaustion sets in, creating rhythm where there has been chaos, and protecting your nervous system from constant stimulation. In other words, self-love looks a lot less dramatic than what we've been taught to expect. Ayurveda recognizes that when the body and mind are constantly dysregulated, when digestion is weak, sleep is irregular, and the nervous system is overstimulated, it becomes very difficult to feel love, even when love is present. This is why so many people feel disconnected, irritable, or even numb when their relationships are fine. The issue isn't a lack of love, it's a lack of internal support. Love begins with regulation. Ayurveda focuses on rhythm, and this rhythm creates safety, and safety allows love to arise. When we wake, eat, move, and rest at relatively consistent times, we send a message to the body that it can relax. When we eat foods that are warm, grounding, and digestible, we're not being restrictive, we're being considerate. When we say no to overcommitting, overstimulation, or constant output, we're not being selfish, we're creating space for presence. Ayurveda does not separate love from digestion, boundaries, or daily structure. These are not lifestyle add-ons. They are expressions of self-respect. This is why self-love in Ayurveda often feels very unglamorous. It looks like warm meals, early nights, oil on the skin, and pausing before reacting. But over time, these simple acts create stability, and stability is the soil in which love can grow. And this brings us to Dinacharya, the Ayurvedic daily self-care practices, which I talk about often on this podcast. And I discussed Dinacharya in detail in episode 16, which I will link in the show notes. But Dinacharya are how you relate to your body, your mind, and your energy every single day. When you oil your body, you're offering reassurance. When you eat attentively, you're practicing presence. When you rest consistently, you're honoring limits. These are not mechanical tasks. They're acts of self-love. In this way, Dinacharya becomes a form of devotion, not to an external ideal, but to your own well-being. Now I want to widen the lens and speak more philosophically. In Ayurveda and yogic traditions, love is understood as union. Not union with another person, but union with ourselves. Union between effort and surrender, activity and rest, prana and apana, and I'll explain this particular union further in a moment. But when these forces are in dialogue rather than conflict, we experience a sense of wholeness. But when they're out of balance, we often seek love externally to compensate, to ground us, energize us, or soothe us. This is not a failure, it's a signal. When inner union is missing, we don't crave love, we crave regulation. And no relationship, no matter how loving, can replace the work of inner integration. Now, as promised, I'm going to go back to that union between prana and apana, and these are the two movements of life. In Ayurveda, prana and apana are two of the 5 main vayus, or the subdoshas of vata. Essentially, they are directions of pranic movement in the body. Rather than thinking of them as abstract energies, it helps to see them as opposing but complementary movements. Prana Vayu is the inward and upward force. The location of this Vayu is in the chest, the heart, the lungs, and the head. And the direction of energy is inward and upward. Now, prana governs incoming breath, sensory input, inspiration, ideas, motivation, alertness, enthusiasm, curiosity, and our capacity to receive life. Psychologically, prana is associated with excitement, longing, reaching, and future orientation. Now, too much prana without grounding can feel like anxiety, overthinking, restlessness, and living in the head. Apana Vayu is the downward and outward force. The location of this Vayu is in the lower abdomen, pelvis, and colon. And the direction of energy is downward and outward. So Apana Vayu governs elimination, the bowels, urine, and menstruation. It governs grounding, stability, letting go, and containment. Psychologically, Apana is associated with safety, embodiment, boundaries, presence, and the ability to stay. Now, too much Apana without uplift can feel like heaviness, stagnation, depression, and lack of motivation. So let's talk about prana and apana when it comes to union. When Ayurveda speaks of union between prana and apana, it's describing a state where inspiration is grounded, enthusiasm has containment, movement has stability, love has presence. Union doesn't mean they collapse into each other. It means they communicate. Prana brings aliveness into the body. Apana helps the body to hold that aliveness safely. And so why is this central to love? Well, when prana dominates without apana, love becomes idealized, anxious, future-focused, easily destabilized. This is the kind of love that says, I need you to make me feel safe, or I need something outside of me to ground me. When apana dominates without prana, love becomes withdrawn, heavy, guarded, and disconnected. This is the love that says, it's safer not to need. Or I'll stay contained but not open. Healthy love arises when prana and apana are in union. Openness without overwhelm. Connection without loss of self. Intimacy without collapse. And this applies equally to self-love, romantic love, friendships, our relationship with food, work, and rest. So now let's take a look at how daily habits create this prana-apana union. Simple daily self-care practices naturally bring prana and apana into relationship. Eating warm, regular meals grounds prana. Abhyanga oil massage draws awareness inward and downward into the body. Consistent elimination strengthens apana. Gentle morning movement invites prana without overstimulation. Regular sleep stabilizes both prana and apana. Over time, the body learns I can be open and safe. And that's the essence of love in Ayurveda. Love arises when prana can move more freely and apana can hold it. When the nervous system is regulated and the body feels safe, something beautiful happens in relationships. We stop asking others to fix us, complete us, calm us, or validate our worth. Instead, love becomes something we share, not something we source. When inner balance is present, communication becomes clearer, boundaries feel less defensive, intimacy feels safer, and love feels spacious rather than consuming. This is why true self-care is not selfish. It makes us better partners, friends, parents, and community members. So if Valentine's Day brings up longing, comparison, or pressure, my humble suggestion would be, rather than asking, am I loved enough? Ask yourself, am I living in a way that supports love within me? Because love, from this perspective, is not a moment. It's a state created through rhythm, nourishment, presence, and care. And when we cultivate that state, love naturally flows outward. Now, if this conversation resonates with you and you're looking for support to help you implement loving self-care practices tailored to you and your lifestyle, then check out my online consultations. Or if you prefer to work alone, check out my 28-day self-paced online daily habits for holistic health program. This program was designed to help you implement supportive daily care practices. And over the 28 days, you will focus on establishing rhythm, supporting digestion, calming the nervous system, building daily habits that create a loving, stable foundation for your health and life, and learning how to become your own healer. This program is about learning how to care for yourself consistently and letting that care become the ground from which love grows. You can check out all the details on my online services on my new website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com, or just click on the link in the show notes. And as I finish up here, remember, Ayurveda reminds us that love is not something we wait for. It's something we practice in how we eat, in how we rest, in how we listen, and in how we show up for ourselves day after day. So may this Valentine's Day be a reminder, not of what is missing, but of the quiet, steady love that's already available within you. If you think that this episode will be helpful to family or friends, please share it with them so we can spread this wisdom of Ayurveda. And if you feel like you're getting benefit from this podcast, I would appreciate a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts. And don't forget to follow or subscribe so the new episodes download automatically for you. And please come join me on social media. On Instagram, it's Elements of Ayurveda Podcast. And on Facebook, it's Elements Healing and Wellbeing. And until next time, take good care of yourself, be well, and bye for now. Svånga full.